we've got Randy Pitchford in a little while, we've got Peter Molyneux. It's going to be pretty awesome. But first of all, we've got the guys from the Indie Stone who are going to be showing Project Zomboid with a little bit of help from Mr. Spitfire.
Yeah, hi everyone, there's quite a few people here. We were kind of expecting to just be talking, so I don't know, 3 people and a dog. And here you are. Thank you very much. We're kind of terrified. Today we're going to be taking you on a magical adventure through how not to make a game and quite possibly how not to do a presentation. Just so we have a general idea, how many people here have either played Project Zomboid or can know the gist? Holy shit. Okay, right, we're playing to our home crowd. Anyone from the forums here? Got a couple? Oh, okay. Well, don't throw anything just yet. Hopefully everything will be fine. Okay, right, so let's introduce ourselves. What order are we doing this in? Yeah, okay, we're not doing it in that order because we changed it, sorry. So, Andy, you're first.
Yeah, I'm Andy Hodgetts, or Captain Binky, and we've got a little interesting facts.
Yeah, fascinating facts. What's your fascinating fact, Andy?
Probably that out of all of us, I was the one that didn't go to the loo before this.
Okay. Okay. Mash, who are you and what is your fascinating fact?
Okay, I'm Marina Suchong, also known as Mashed Potato. My fascinating fact is I've been attacked by birds on 2 separate occasions.
Chris?
I'm Chris Simpson, I'm a programmer on the project, and my interesting fact is I'm shitting a brick live on stage.
And I'm Will Porter, and my interesting fact is even though I don't have a nickname, they call me the Velvet Owl at Eurogamer. For no apparent reason. Okay, this is what our game looks like, but then again most of you already know that, and that's quite scary. It's a zombie apocalypse roleplay game in which your death is inevitable. And the following is quite a fun live-action teaser trailer made by a nice man called Josh from Montana. And hopefully it'll go, and hopefully the sound's going to work. Yes, hello.
Month 6 of the quarantine of Knox County is ended. They released a statement asking for calm and patience, calling a do-nothing agenda. The fly zone firmly in place, even though clues to the nature of the outcome. However, pictures released by U.S. forces show crowded streets, suggesting that, despite it all, the townsfolk of Madrell are still living as normal.
So, Andy, take it away.
Yeah, well, in our experience anyway, the commercial games industry was pretty depressing. You know, as an artist or a coder, you're basically, even if you're a senior person, you're still responsible for a pretty tiny little part of the entire game. You don't really have any control over it, because if you're working on a turkey, you know it, and you hate it, but you can't do anything about it. And so really, it's not really what you wanted to do when you were a kid and you want to make games. You want to make the game. You don't want to make a character for a game or write the code that makes the cars explode or place health packs on a level somewhere. So it's basically, yeah, we didn't like it. And the thing is as well, is you hear it said nowadays, you never used to hear it said, that making games is a job now. It's just a job. And it isn't just a job. And I hate it when people say that. So, go indie.
Yeah, like the indie industry now is basically the commercial games industry that we wanted to get into when we were kids. Because back then, the commercial games industry was more bedroom coders. You know, you made your game, you put it on the tape, you took it down to WH Smith's or whatever. And we looked up to people like Sensible Software with, you know, John Hare and all that business, and basically once we got into the industry, we got rather disillusioned because we thought we missed it and we never got the opportunity to be part of that industry. But we finally managed to do that by going indie, and yeah, I'm very proud of it. So.
Yes, I mean, so everyone knows what sort of some of the games you guys worked on. Chris worked on Stuntman and Driver 3, otherwise known as Drift 3.
I'll get on.
And he worked on. I keep on calling it Darkwind Defender of the Crown. Actually, Darkwind and Defender of the Crown.
They're two games. You keep calling them.
I'm the worst PC journalist in the world. I'm sorry. And Chris also coded an entire FPS on his own called Demon Summoner.
Yeah.
With this. And it was really, really shit.
I'm particularly proud of that one. It's like a rite of passage at the place we worked, where every programmer must have their soul destroyed by being put on their own as a programmer on a budget first-person shooter with about 2 enemy types, about 3 weapons and 4 levels or something. And yeah, that's just another reason why we went indie in the end.
So, leading on to the first indie project. Oh no, hang on, wait a minute, I've gone over one. We're talking about mods first. What, you guys found Sanctuary through mods?
I thought you were the prepared one.
Oh, sorry. Tell me about mods.
We had jobs we didn't really enjoy very much, and so this was our little creative outlet, basically, which was find games that were actually competently made and mod them. And so we did the Sims mods and motion mods and stuff, although that one never came out. The Sims one was actually quite close for the zombies stuff, because it was kind of story progression stuff. Well, basically, we were turning the Sims into so it was just a bit of structure to it and everything. But this one was kind of like a religion mod, which we never finished, and as it turns out, the gods of the expansion came out and made it done very well. It was off. Cool. So then, I thought this was this one. This is the first project. It's called Pause. Never actually came out, but this is also kind of like, you can see the lovely art of Mash of Marina. So, as good a time as any Mash, this is time
Ever, Mash, if you could tell us how you got involved with these guys.
Well, I was, unlike Chris and Andy, I was not involved in the proper industry, so I'm still unscathed or unspoiled by that experience. So I was making games on my own. I was using a Adventure Game Studio to make adventure games, and then so I met them on a game development forum, and we started talking, we became friends, and then I started working with them. So Pause was the first major game we worked on together. We were very close to finishing it, but didn't quite get there.
We may come back to it later, though. We might 10 years.
Well, Spiffo is now like he's our community raccoon, obviously, and B, he's also the mascot of the fast food restaurants in Project Zomboid in Knox County. So we're keeping to our roots. So the development of this was kind of curtailed when this came along, which was Privates with lovely Dan Marshall of Zombie Cow, then now Size 5 Games. And it won a BAFTA.
Apparently.
Won a BAFTA. I don't know, we just want to give a quick overview of what you did in it?
Yeah, I mean, it was basically it was a Channel 4 commissioned sex educational game, and Chris did all the code for it, I did all the art for it, and it was pretty tight budget. Originally it was going to be a little daft 2D flash game or something, and we sort of said, do it as a proper game.
But where was it set?
It was set in the ladies and gentlemen's bits. And we basically it was very, very accurate. We had the escalators and the lampposts and there was neon lights inside and stuff. There was a lot of very accurate research went into it.
Okay, so and after that we ended up at the next tip, which is genus. What was the situation post Privates?
Well, basically, because Privates was a free educational game, obviously there wasn't any money to be made post the game coming out. While it was a massively worthwhile experience working on it, at the end of it, we suddenly realised that we had no money to pay the rents. We didn't have anything else on the go. We thought, well, might pick up pause, but then is really the market on Xbox Live indie games at the moment. And basically, so yeah, we panicked. So we then put something on our blog.
We were literally on bread and beans for weeks. That was all we could afford. We had no money for rent, and it was just beans.
So, that's a good idea at the right time. Oh, hello. Okay. So, this is what was developed internally. This is the first mock-up of the game that was originally called Dead Territory. Andy, why zombies?
Well, the thing is obviously anyone who's watched any zombie film ever has had exactly this idea. It's just everyone. It occurs to everybody. You know, everyone sits around and discusses their own plans for a zombie apocalypse, and probably is asked the question, why the hell doesn't that game exist? You know, and there are things like it, like Rogue Survivor and games like that, but none which are very authentic to the Romero Max Brooks zombies. So yeah, it's a game everyone wants to make, and we just thought, well, we'll do, really, I guess.
And that also then sort of skewed quite into alpha funding.
Yes, because yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it's a pretty sizable project, especially we're doing it in 2D, which is sort of cutting it down a little bit. But it's a sort of size of project that you'd never be able to fund it in any way other than alpha funding. I mean, you'd
Well, for a small team.
you'd either have to have a very, very large team or have a very large amount of money. But we've got neither of those things. So instead it was kind of, let's just make some screenshots and hope for the best.
Which leads neatly into that one. Learn from awesome people like Notch.
Yeah.
There he is!
Well, obviously the idea of crowdfunding and alpha funding, I'm not entirely sure Notch actually invented this, but what he did do is he thrust it in everyone's face, and like with the success of Minecraft, this is how the idea occurred to us, and we probably wouldn't have otherwise. So, we tried to take a few lessons from Notch outside making a rip-off cube voxel-based game like certain other people. We tried to
consider that for a while.
Yeah. Let's do it. I actually did. I forgot about that. But basically, it was different. But basically, to try and take like the underlying lessons of why Minecraft was successful beyond the actual game itself, which it mainly is obviously the alpha funded angle, but also user-created content in terms of the story. So everyone's game is different. It's a sandbox, and people can put it on YouTube, and people read about it on YouTube. And I think YouTube's probably the biggest success factor when it came to spreading the word.
So these were the images that appeared just literally on the Nickenstein blog. And then I don't know if you guys have heard of it, there's a site called Reddit, and they kind of liked it. I mean, Andy, what happened next?
Yeah, well, we just had those pictures and a set of goals, basically. It was just a text document. And yeah, it kind of, we thought maybe if we were lucky we might get enough to stop eating beans, or at the very least be able to pay the next month's rent. But we just got inundated, and the traffic broke the servers, and we just weren't set up for this, prepared for it. We were kind of taking donations, but we were processing all that stuff manually because we thought, we'll get one or two or something, it'll be fine. And we were getting too many to handle, that it was a case of the time it took us to actually do one. In the time that would take, about 2 more things would come through. So we were getting further and further behind, and we couldn't ever sleep because we'd end up with a huge backlog. And so Chris would do some, and then he'd go, just get a couple of hours sleep, and I'd take over, and then I'd get a couple of hours sleep, and we were just kind of...
We didn't see each other for
we didn't see no. And we were trying to get the game written. All our time was spent doing this, just emails and things to everybody. So and it got to the point where we were incredibly excited by it, but another bit of exposure would happen. Like we saw it come onto Kotaku and led to a news story about it, and we just thought, oh no.
That was the first mental breakdown.
That was the first mental breakdown. The first of many mental breakdowns.
So, right, we're on to the mental breakdown section. Oh, hang on. Well, after that one. don't blindly trust that PayPal loves you. So hooray, everyone liked Project Zomboid, at least the idea of it at that point. But corporate money boxes like PayPal weren't all that comfortable with hundreds of people donating cash for something that didn't actually exist yet, which led to frozen funds, desperation and pain. Should have seen that one coming.
Yeah, really. But the trouble was, to be fair to us, firstly we didn't think we were going to get quite so much exposure so rapidly, and so we didn't think they'd actually notice. And then the stuff about the donations, it is in the terms and conditions, in these enormous terms and conditions, it's buried in there somewhere. But you see, there's thousands of websites which have these little buttons on the screen. You just think, well, it's fine, isn't it? Everyone does that, it's fine. But apparently not.
So, we needed a get around. So, how did you guys wangle your way through? Basically, the thing was that people would actually pay for a real game, and it'd just be a really, really shit game. And then you get Project Zomboid for free. Hurrah! These were the games. That's Doctoroids. That one's one. I think that one's called Stand on Top of the Other Guy, but be bigger.
Yes.
And then for £15, this is Rock Paper Scissors, the text adventure.
This one, droids did get mods though. We had mods for that.
There you go. Okay, the next one's a weird one, and it's also quite a tragic one, but we can't really not talk about it because it was one of the most bizarre things that happened to the team. It was, basically, someone next door had turned his flat into a bomb factory, and then very sadly he did actually die. But it was just odd, wasn't it? It was. I mean, Andy, what happened on that day?
Yeah, we'd been up sort of for about 48 hours or something stupid, trying to get things written.
Yeah, so about 3 days before the first version was due to be released.
Yeah, so we hadn't had any sleep, and I think we finally crawled into bed at about sort of 5 or 6 in the morning, and then you wake up and there's a policeman looming over your bed, and he's telling you you've got to evacuate immediately, and you think, what the hell? And so we sort of bleary-eyed wandered downstairs, and you get out of the flat, and it looks like the scene from 28 Days Later or something. There's just abandoned cars everywhere and eerie silence, and you just think, God, the zombie apocalypse has actually happened. And, so we had no idea what was going on. No one would tell us, and eventually we found out from BBC News 24 because we just travelled off the latest pub and found out we couldn't get back to the flat for 3 days, and we didn't have our laptops or anything. And we just thought, great, brilliant.
I got quoted in this.
So anyway, moving on to happier kinds. Make a demo that sells your intentions. It's important to know as well that at this stage our friend Nick, who's somewhere back there, was kind of integral to it all as well. So, and also this is where I kind of appeared on the scene. I used to work on PC Zone, and I now just do various writing for places like Eurogamer, a few bits and bobs from Repo Shotgun every now and again, and they let me. And at the time I'd just come off the back of doing some pre-production work on some like AAA games that for London studios, but they're about to get published and they've not published. It's quite a familiar story really. So I was a bit annoyed with the way the games were as well. So I kind of threw my chips in with indie and never looked back. Well, not often anyway. So this, if it's going to go.
It'll go.
It's going, right. This is the demo we put out with a vaguely ominous open crawl. Andy, what can you say about the demo and the horrible things we did in it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, really, it was just it's a case of we were trying to do something that served as a tutorial and also served as a story. That also then was acted as sort of like a mission statement for the game, so the sorts of things you can expect to see. Is this gone wrong? Yay! Excellent. So,
Spoiler!
Okay.
Yeah, and so that happened.
Let's just pretend that we all watch it.
We all know.
Sorry, yeah, that's
Anyway.
a spoiler, sorry. A can die.
Yeah, so this was our technique of skipping the tutorial There caught quite a few people surprised when they thought, well, just give her a pillow to be comfortable and then smother it to death. But we like, we didn't tell anybody that was what was going to happen, and we like the fact that people weren't expecting it to happen, because it's a sort of bleakly depressing, horrible thing that you're going to get quite a lot of. So we thought it was a pretty interesting way of tutorial skipping. Better than pressing escape.
Oh, yeah.
And another important person that we found on the way was this guy. Lovely Zach Beaver. Hooray, he's lovely. And he is a musical prodigy, we believe. And yeah, he's just amazing. And the amount that his work has done for our game just cannot be overemphasised. And the scariest thing was, when he wrote all the music, well, all the music that you'll hear in current builds, he was only 16 years old. And yeah, so we might have broken some US employment laws, but we're not going to dig too deep into that one. So next up, do Spiffo says get something out there, and this was the release of build 0.1.5. Is it play? Yeah, yes, it's play. So this was the introduction of more of a sandboxing mode to complement the tutorial. And I think this point is where we ought to talk about the help that we got from a lot of people at Zura, who kind of got us out of a bit of a hole from there.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's like a Steam-like service for indie games, and they understood the concept of alpha-funded games and what the way that would be distributed and everything. So on the one hand, you got PayPal and Google that were doing a good cop, bad cop routine of who's going to be freezing our money that time, and then switch around. But Zura just came in and were really helpful and sorted everything out, and they were great.
Guys, we've really selected a really dull bit, and you think there's a guy just hitting the door. Sorry about that, there are zombies in our game.
Is it barricade?
Yeah, he's trying to figure out how to take the barricade down.
Oh, okay. Yeah, never mind.
The only version is just full of spelling mistakes as well.
Okay. Alright. Okay, so now
there you go, we figured it out now. There you go.
So, everything was perfect, we were all happy, we had money to make the game of our dreams, we were all on rainbows and flying unicorns, and, everything was kind of grand. But then, the following happened. We're just going to go through these slides in, maybe some horrified silence. Oh, okay. Okay. So, this is what we refer to as the incident. It wasn't our finest hour, and it led to a great deal of trauma and depression for the team. And we think it's something that we can perhaps beg sympathy for, if not forgiveness. The facts of the matter were that basically the team returned home late one night, having got a bit drunk, celebrating the move to a flat in the middle of Newcastle. And someone, we presume another tenant in the same building, had seen the guys moving in earlier that day, and had proceeded to kick through the fire door and steal credit cards and laptops. Partly due to heads being buried too deep elsewhere, and partly due to the move and the temporary lack of internet, the game hadn't been backed up online in 2 months, and instead had been backed up between 2 laptops. Reading from the discovery, the internet was informed via Twitter, and the internet's Eye of Sauron needled in on us, and we became enemy number 1. Someone on Reddit and elsewhere, we were fraudsters, criminals, and in the chaos, we all bit back. But then it turned out that the internet really can bite back harder.
Yeah, it's, you always, every now and then you'll see somebody somewhere having a bit of pop, and it's just like getting stabbed in the heart, really.
Yeah, because basically we're not invited internet trolls to set up camp in our forum and in our Twitter feeds, and even now when the name of our game pops up online, it's generally associated with months of our lives that we'd rather forget. But, it's something you've got to accept really, because it's happened, and it will be associated with us. At GDC this year, someone described something almost happening, and he said, "Oh, we almost got zomboided." And I think that's, it's going to be with us. And the community was damaged by wounds that we'd really self-inflicted. And some of us became seriously depressed. And I'm talking about myself there for one. I can't talk for the others, but it was really, really dark.
It's hard because I was in Canada at the time, so also you're seeing a lot of things happening on the internet, and you can't really do anything. You kind of feel kind of trapped. But most of all, when all this happening, most I want to do is just give that guys a hug, because it's just that's all you keep. That's all you want to do, because there's nothing you can do other than hopefully just try to present support.
I guess the silver lining is we might have stopped this happening to other people in the future, because it's such a public downfall that there was a few quite high profile indie developers who were tweeting afterwards, right, I think I'm going to make an off-site backup. So yeah.
So anyway, so that happened. So this is where in our heads we'd like to start playing like another Rocky theme tune. Anyway, so yeah, don't lose faith. Think of your fans, because we did have amongst it all, we had some amazing support, really nice emails, people telling us that that they knew that we'd keep on going, and come back and forth. And this next thing is going to be like the trailer for our upcoming 0.2.0 version. Everything that is in it is currently playable in public test builds on the forum. Hopefully it's going to work.
Inevitable death.
On going.
Did you press it again?
And that's the trailer.
End on a high.
Now,
Peter Molyneux can wait,
hey.
Hey. Muted. Unmute.
So next up, remember the game isn't just you, because we really want to mention, since this began, there's a lot of people that could have become part of the thing with us. Obviously there's Nick, we mentioned earlier, and also with him is Paul Ring, otherwise known as RingoD, sorry. He was our kind of YouTube hero, and now he's part of the team with us and working with me and putting dialogue and stuff in. There's Josh in Montana, who did those amazing trailers for us. Matt and Dan in Chicago, who host the All Things Zomboid podcast. AFK, who does our awesome concept art, which, he's just supremely talented. Marcus in Australia, who helps us with our tech support. Andrew in Canada, who helps with recipes and balancing, Zach, the music man, who we mentioned earlier on, all of our special infected testers, and we've now also got Zomboid fan and community sites in France, Germany, Poland and Russia. Yeah.
In Brazil too.
And Brazil, apparently. And so, yeah, it's just, don't want to say this thing as a kind of a, oh wow, look what we got. We just want to say, this happened in a year, and bloody hell, that's just mental. But the other final thing I want to talk about is modding and the players being our future, because the stuff that already on the forums is just quite remarkable, and I know you guys wanted to finish off on this.
Yeah, well, coming from a mod background ourselves, we knew how important modding can be to a community and to a game, to increase its life and to give the community more involvement with the game. And sadly, in the commercial industry, we've seen this kind of shrink a bit because of the prevalence of DLC. It seems, I'm not accusing, but it seems like some publishers are kind of reining in the modding potential and which is a massive shame. But we're hoping that with Rezzed's success, they might start to rethink that, and it's modding is brilliant, basically.
Yeah, I mean, we're such a tiny team. There's only so many of us, and we've got this mad list of things to get through, and we can only do it one at a time in a certain order. And the great thing for us is the fact that, like say with the farming or the reloading stuff,
or making
a cow. Yeah, someone can look at this list of things we want to do and say, well, I'm not prepared to wait however long it takes them to get around to doing this. I'm going to do it myself, and that's the beauty of having these tools in there now.
Cool. So to ask the audience if they have any questions. And we can only do one question.
An amazing question.
That's all right. Don't worry. So, any one questions?
It's too much pressure now.
Well, we can. There's one there. Sorry? It's the multiplayer question! When's multiplayer coming?
Next week now. It's slowly been bumped up the priority list since we started. It's such a requested feature that as soon as we get something that feels solid and complete, and the modding community have started to expand the world far beyond what we can, and once we've hit some, we've already got some very preliminary code in there, but it's still quite a way off. But we're going to go as soon as possible because we know that's when it'll really, hopefully, explode, as it did Minecraft.
Yeah. And I think we'd all just like to say, we'd like to thank you for coming to see us, because we really didn't expect many people want to listen to us, and it means a lot to us that you're here, basically. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming, guys. As you know, we've got sessions going on throughout the day. The next one is going to be Creative Assembly at 1 o'clock. They're going to be showing a little bit of Rome 2, showing and talking about their 25 years of the Creative Assembly. We need you guys to head out, I'm afraid, to re-queue on the show floor so other people can have a chance to get in as well. And they've got to go out this side, I'm being told, by an